All right, welcome to NFL Nexus. Today, we are breaking down a matchup that has the entire league buzzing, the NFC Championship showdown between the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Look, this isn't just another game. This is a clash of titans with a Super Bowl trip on the line. It's a divisional rivalry that's been turned up to 11, a true chess match with storylines of deception and redemption just waiting to unfold. So let's dive right in and see what makes this one so special.
Now, the hype around this game is absolutely real, and for good reason. It's not just fans getting excited or the media pushing a narrative. According to DOVA, which is a really respected system that measures how efficient a team is on every single play, this could be the most competitive NFC title game we've seen in nearly half a century. Seriously, let that sink in for a second. We're not just talking about a great game. We are on the verge of a potentially historic showdown. It's a matchup that's so evenly balanced, so loaded with talent, that the numbers basically say it's a coin flip. And that right there is what makes this so incredible.
So why all the hype? Well, it's because by pretty much every single measure, these are the two most complete, well-rounded teams in the entire NFL. This isn't your classic great offense versus a great defense situation. No, both of these teams have it all. They've got stars everywhere, brilliant coaching, and depth on both sides of the ball. For fans who love high-level strategic football, it's an absolute dream matchup. But, for the teams themselves, it's also kind of a cruel twist of fate. And yeah, this slide pretty much says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the Los Angeles Rams, an offensive juggernaut led by a veteran QB who is playing some of the best football of his career. They are a finely tuned machine built to put up points. But then, on the other side, you have the Seattle Seahawks, a team so tough and so well coached that they actually walked away with the win the last time these two met. It's a cruel collision because one of these Super Bowl-worthy teams is going to see their season end just one game short of the ultimate prize. And it won't be because they weren't good enough, but because they had to face their toughest opponent a game too early.
To really get the stakes here, we have to rewind to their last game back on December 18th. It was an absolute classic, a real heavyweight fight. Now, the Rams might have lost that game, but their offense put on a show. Matthew Stafford was just surgical, throwing for a crazy 457 yards. And his rookie receiver, the Phenom Puka Nagara, was just unstoppable. 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those are video game numbers. It proves that even against this tough rival, the Rams' offense can absolutely explode. But the big question is, how did Seattle still manage to win? Well, at the heart of that Rams explosion was a very specific and very deceptive weapon.
Okay, let's get into the X's and O's, because this is where things get really fascinating. We have to talk about Matthew Stafford's mastery of deception, and specifically, his signature weapon, the no-look pass. Now, this isn't just some flashy trick for the highlight reels. For Stafford, it's a finely tuned weapon he's been using to pick defenses apart for over a decade, and it was on full display in that last game against Seattle. It's a skill that creates a huge problem for a defense as smart as the Seahawks.
So what exactly is a no-look pass? I mean, the definition is simple. The quarterback looks one way to fool the defense and throws another. But the execution? That's pure art. It's psychological warfare on the field. Think about it. Defensive backs are trained from day one to read the quarterback's eyes. Their eyes tell them everything. And Stafford uses that training against them. He uses his eyes like a decoy to move a safety just a couple of feet or to hold a cornerback for just a split second. And in the NFL, against these receivers, that is a lifetime of separation.
Okay, so how does this actually work in a real game? How did Stafford use this exact technique to put points on the board against this exact same Seahawks defense? Let's break down one of the most brilliant plays from that December game, a play that I guarantee you Seattle has been watching on a loop all week long. Just watch this unfold. It's the fourth quarter, a huge moment. Rams need a score. Stafford takes the snap. First thing he does, he locks his eyes deep downfield, toward the sideline. He isn't just glancing, he's staring. His whole body is selling a deep shot. So the Seahawks defender covering that zone, a smart player, has to respect it. He freezes for just a fraction of a second. And that's the window. In that single moment, Stafford, without ever looking inside, just whips his arm across his body and fires a perfect strike to Puka Nacua, who is now wide open in the space the defender just left. It is a masterclass in manipulation. And the result of that one play? A touchdown that gave the Rams a commanding 30-14 lead. This wasn't just some flashy highlight. It was a pivotal moment that shows how Stafford's unique skill directly creates points. It's a play the Seahawks coaches have probably watched 100 times trying to figure it out. I mean, how do you even coach against that? Do you tell your guys to ignore the quarterback size, breaking the #1 rule of defense? That's the problem it creates. It's not about a scheme. It's about one guy's incredible talent.
But hey, you don't have to take my word for how special this is. When the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, Tom Brady, stops to break down a specific throw, you know it's something legendary. Brady himself recently did a deep dive into Stafford's technique, and what he found reveals just how deep this skill really runs.
And here's what Brady said, which is just fascinating. What looks to us like a spectacular off-the-cuff play is actually the exact opposite. He says this is the result of thousands and thousands of reps, building a level of muscle memory that very few athletes ever achieve. It's not a conscious thought in the middle of a play. It's an automatic reaction. Stafford's body just knows where the receiver's going to be and what the throw needs to feel like. It's pure, instinctual genius forged in the fire of a long career.
You know, that kind of mastery doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. It has to have an origin story. So where did Matthew Stafford develop one of the most unique and effective skills in the entire league? Well, the answer takes us all the way back to his early days in the NFL.
This timeline shows it perfectly. It all started in Detroit. Stafford told Brady that when he was playing with the legend Calvin Megatron Johnson, every single person in the stadium knew exactly where he wanted to throw the ball on every play. The no-look pass was born out of pure necessity. He said, I had to learn how to do different things to disguise my intention. It was a survival tactic. Then fast forward to the 2021 Super Bowl. Biggest stage, game-winning drive. What does he do? He pulls out a no-look laser to Cooper Kupp. It went from a survival tool to a championship-winning weapon. And that brings us to last month, where he used it again on the Seahawks, proving that weapon is as sharp as ever.
And let's just pause on that Super Bowl throw for a second, because Tom Brady, a man who knows a thing or two about great throws, called that specific no-look pass one of the greatest throws in the history of the NFL. I mean, that is the highest praise you can possibly get from the ultimate authority. It proves Stafford's no-look pass isn't a gimmick. It's an elite, historically great skill that can win you a championship. The question is, can it win him another one against Seattle? So we have the quarterback's art of deception as one huge storyline. But there's another, equally powerful human element driving the Rams into this game. It's a story of frustration and motivation. Because while Stafford was slinging it back in December, one of his most important weapons was forced to just watch from the sidelines. And believe me, he has some unfinished business. That player is star wide receiver Davante Adams. He was out for that first game against Seattle with a nagging hamstring injury. So for all the offensive fireworks we saw, you have to wonder what could have been if their all-pro receiver had been on the field. His absence was a massive break for the Seahawks defense, no doubt about it. And Adams was brutally honest about what it felt like to miss that game. It crushed me, he said. It's just a helpless type of feeling. You can just feel the frustration in that. This is one of the best competitors in the world. And being unable to help your team in a huge game against a rival, a game they ended up losing, that feeling doesn't just go away. It becomes fuel. And let's break down why it was so tough for him. He specifically mentioned watching the Rams offense stall out a couple of times in the red zone in that game. He knows that's his office. That's where he wins one-on-one matchups. He believes deep down that if he'd been out there, he could have turned a couple of those field goals into touchdowns and changed the entire game. And honestly, he's probably right. Even when he isn't catching the ball, just having him on the field changes everything for a defense. That feeling of what if is an incredibly powerful motivator. But his drive isn't just about personal revenge. It's also tied to his teammates. He called being with this Rams group a dream situation, and he talked about how blessed he is to have a young player like Puka Nacua in his receiver room. This shows his motivation is two-sided. Yeah, he wants redemption, but he also desperately wants to win for the guys in that locker room. He's a leader, and he's coming into this game with a massive sense of purpose. So now we have our two huge narratives for the Rams, and they are on a collision course with a really, really good Seattle Seahawks team. On one side, you have the calculated deception of a veteran quarterback. On the other, the raw, emotional determination of a star receiver with everything to prove. And in their way is a team that has already proven they can beat them. So what's going to be the deciding factor? Will it be Stafford's deception? A weapon born out of necessity, perfected on the Super Bowl stage, and praised by the GOAT himself? Or will it be Adams' redemption?
A personal mission, fueled by the frustration of having to watch from the sidelines and the desire to be the difference maker his team needed last time. These two powerful forces will be on the same field, driving the same team. And that's what makes this whole thing so compelling and a little tragic. We are guaranteed to see a team that is good enough to win the Super Bowl go home. The talent on both sides is just immense, the coaching is elite, and the stakes could not possibly be higher. It's the kind of legacy-defining game we'll be talking about for years, and it's all happening one game before the big one.
So, as we head into this incredible clash, that's the question I leave you with. In a game that will come down to a few key plays, which narrative will define the outcome? Will it be the masterful art of deception from Matthew Stafford, or will it be the burning desire for redemption from Davante Adams that carries the Rams to victory? We are about to find out which story gets written on the road to the Super Bowl.
And that's all for this breakdown on NFL Nexus. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Deception or redemption? Which one wins out? If you enjoyed this deep dive, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and like this explainer. It really helps the channel out. And hey, if you want another way to support us, check out our coloring books. They're perfect for all ages, for your kids, grandkids, and honestly, they're a great way for adults to unwind too. You can grab them by scanning the QR code on your screen or just use the link down in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.